Alright, we have an update here. Basically, I got the compressor installed after battling with it for some time, and the new AC line is finally in place, except for the compressor end is still dangling and the accumulator is in place. So, I actually found a better way to get this line in place. You want to start underneath the car here with the whole line, like just underneath, with like usually this piece hanging down, and then you want to start with this end, feed it up through above the subframe, and then you come out. Jesus. It's hard to see here. You'll come through where this cooler line is. You want to make sure you go underneath it. That's just the condenser line sticking up. You can see where that nut is that holds the line in. I'll get my hand in there. This one, make sure you go underneath this, and then right here you could loosen this nut when you're taking the compressor out from the beginning to give this some play, because it's a little tight squeezing that in and out of there. And you can see there's a 15mm bolt. There's another one like right here, 15mm bolt, and then there's, I don't know if you guys can see from here, maybe. Yep, there's one right up there at the top of the light. This is the third one that holds in the front. So basically what I did is I slid the compressor back once I got the line in place. And then for the condenser end, I forgot, but you just, once you feed this line through, then you just bend this hose and get it back up around this side, and then you'll want to feed it up. And there's the condenser, is up by the alternator. Maybe I'll show you guys later once I get it in place. There's a little 13mm nut. I don't know where it got to, but that holds that in. And then on the back, there's a stud in the back of the compressor. It's a 13mm, which was a pain to get in. Lining it all up, but there was a problem with this line. Apparently it only fits 96 through 98 year Oldsmobile Auroras. So everything's the same except for the port's the same that goes in the compressor, but this, with this little muffler, the original one is welded about there to give you clearance on the engine bracket here, because the pre-99s did not have a center engine mount, so this line was welded up here. But I got this to work with just the line off of, I guess, a 98 or older Oldsmobile Aurora, which is welded in the back, which if you try and put it on how it comes out of the box, it will hit this mount way before you could even line up the compressor. If you bolt this on, this will hit way before. So I had to bend this quite a bit to get it clear. I don't know if you guys can see, but there's really only about 1/8 of an inch here. I can slip like a screwdriver blade in there. But that's about as good as I can get it. And I also had to, this is the back of the exhaust manifold. I could stick my finger behind there. But that was also touching the exhaust manifold, because the upper end of it, that goes, you can't really see it, but it's up above here. My finger's on it. Also has to be bent a little bit to compensate for that engine bracket. So what I did is I bent it outside the car to what I thought was good, and it got me enough clearance to get the 3 bolts started in the front of the compressor. And then went back and played with it a little bit. It works best if you take a screwdriver and kind of push it towards the right. So you kind of shove it in there and just pry it out to the right side. And then you could also get either screwdriver. I found it was easier to pry on the upper end of this to push the whole line and bend it away from the manifold, because you don't want it to melt it. Because if it's really close to it, this is not going to end well for your AC line. But anyway, I got this to work. Hopefully, when I was bending it, make sure you don't gouge the crap out of it, because you could cut it with a screwdriver. But if it's also rubbing against the engine mount, it's also going to rub a hole in it too. So, kind of fighting against two battles here, but hopefully I didn't ruin it with all my prying. I'll show you guys what I was talking about with this AC line once I can get up here. Jesus. Alright, so I didn't know, but apparently it would be really hard to find the AC. This is the one I cut to get off of the car. I cut it here and here, and this is what 98 looks like. Pulled it off a junkyard, and as you can see, that line is not welded in the same place here. It's off by about 2 inches, so when you put this in, it hits the engine bracket, which sits right here. You can see there was enough clearance with the original one that it wasn't in the way, but you can get this to work by bending this line this way. You want to make sure you try and bend it about here as best you can, because that will give you more room to work with. But as you start bending it, you lose some area here and it's hard to get. I'll show you guys what I use to bend it. I used one of these tubing benders. I'm not sure how big this one is. I'm going to say about a 3/8, maybe even half an inch. But basically what I did is I slipped this on here. I got the curved end of this against that, and then I found it helpful to put this end against my knee to give you some leverage, because this isn't very easy to bend with this tool. But basically you push it to the left like that. I like to get this little piece all the way up against here so you don't gouge it, and something like that, or maybe up a little bit like there. And the curve then, it should hopefully bend around that pivot and not crush the line. So I bent it about, I'd say that much, and then I was able to get it lined up in the car. And then I finished bending it with the screwdrivers and pry bar and got everything in place. And it may be easier to install this sensor last, because it kind of gets in the way when you're putting a line in there. I put it on first, but I didn't know better, so let me make it easier for you guys. Make sure you lubricate these O-rings. There's an O-ring in here. Make sure you lube that with some PAG oil. Same thing, make sure you just get all of them. There's another one inside here on the line. There's one inside here for the condenser. I didn't fuck with it because it's like way up in here. I just left that one go. Hopefully that's not an issue. Alright. I guess I'll show you guys the AC orifice tube while I'm at it. This is just a cloth so I don't scratch my fender roll up here. Alright, where we at? So the AC orifice tube is right inside there. You break that loose and then pull these two lines apart. 15/16 20 millimeter. And then once you get it out, that's what the old one looks like. It's getting oil all over the place here, but basically It's got that little screen, a little O-ring, and it goes in that way. So, or wait. Let's see. Actually, I can't remember which way I went, but I believe it goes in this way. Just make sure you remember how you pulled it out, because I think I remember these little prongs on the end here facing me, because what I did is, you can see it's way in the tube like this, then you just take a little pair of pliers, grab the end of it here, pull it out, twist and pull. It was pretty easy to get out. That one, it's kind of not too bad. There's some shards of metal, but nothing too crazy on there. You can see a little bit of them glistening. Anyway, while I'm up here, right there was this ground wire. You can see it kind of dangling right there. There's a little 10mm nut thing that held that on there, but it's kind of in the way to get the torque axis mount out, so I broke it. So I ended up drilling a new hole right next to it and sanding it down. I'm just going to put another 10mm bolt in there. I think something like this would work. And drive it in there with the impact. It should be good. I'll show you guys the rest of this as I go. One thing to note is it's easier to install the compressor before you put the engine mount in, because as you can see, you could access the top bolt there from the top, which makes it a lot easier, because getting at it from the bottom is kind of challenging. But it can be done. Alright, see you guys later.